Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Sunniva.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at Heat, Pedal to the Metal.
This is a new racing game from Days of Wonder designed by Asger, Granerud and Daniel Pedersen.
It plays from 1 to 6 players in about 1 hour.
Heat is a new game, as I said, from the same designers who did Flamme Rouge, which is a bicycle game, so they changed out the bicycles with cars. But hopefully there's more things changed out, which we're going to talk about. This is not going to be a comparison review, but we might talk a bit about things in Flamme Rouge, maybe, if we feel like it. Heat is all about hand management. It's a hand management game. You are going to be playing cards each round, depending on the number of cards you play, depends on the gear your car is in. If you're in the second gear, you play 2. If you're in the third gear, you play 3, and so on from 1 to 4. You are then going to flip up the cards and move around on the track. There's some little rules here and there, like you can boost to move further, you can slipstream and all of that. But basically you're trying to move farther ahead on the track than the other players most of the time. Sometimes you are in a corner and you cannot move super duper fast because there might be a super quick corner like this, like boom, wow, and if you drive too fast you will just drive right off the board or the track, basically, if it's in real life. And then you will try to move like as closer to the time limit, the speed limit, which is on the corner, as possible, so that you don't have to overheat your car. Because heat is kind of the resource in this game. You have a pack of, like a pile of heat cards, which is in your engine, and then you spend them, so you're kind of overheating your engine. Those cards are going to go into your discard pile and then go back into your deck. And then when you draw them, you can then use different abilities to cool down your car again, so that you will then be able to use them again, and so on and so forth. That's kind of like the resource management part of the game. You're going to drive around these maps. There's 4 maps in the base box, and there's no expansion yet, but there's space for 8 cars and 8 gear sticks in the box. So there might be an expansion in the work. And the player who first crosses the finish line after a set number of laps, usually one of the maps has 3, it's going to be the winner. And if multiple people gets past, it's the person who drives the fastest or farthest past the finish line who's going to be the winner of Heat. Pedal to the metal.
It has kind of a vintage theme. It's not like modern racing. It's a little old school.
Yes.
And I like the art by Vincent Dutrait. I think his art is great. It's not a lot of people and beautiful artwork on these cars. It's more like car parts. But I think it's well done and it's nice to look at.
I like the car parts a lot. And also this game is kind of different because it's not that much to look at. Like in most games now, you have like piles, so you have these resources, this, or this. Here, a very good sentence. You have this, and this.
Yes.
In this game, you only have this and not these and these.
Yeah,
but then you have
simple.
these, and then you have this and this, but not this and this and this.
Yeah.
And we basically have a board, and then there's these very tiny cars. They're nice, but they don't it doesn't look amazing. Like it's a racetrack that has, it's very clear to see, but it's not like it's weird because I think the maps are beautiful, but it's kind of, it looks, I'm going to use the word plain.
Yeah.
Like there's not so much to look at, not horrible, but I think everything Vincent does is amazing, so it looks good, but it's not like one of my favorite artworks of all time or components of all time in a game.
Absolutely, I agree.
The game has a rulebook.
Yep.
It has also 2 rulebooks.
Oh.
These are the Norwegian rulebooks. We're going to throw those in the garbage because they're horrible.
Yes.
Like one of the words, like stop translating things into Norwegian, please, or start translating into Norwegian. For real. So, but the rulebooks are nice. I like the fact that they're doing kind of like it's not like Fantasy Flight, but you have like a basic rulebook where you learn the game. And then you have the other rulebook, which has the advanced modes and the championship modes and all of the like different modules and things you can put into the game to make it more advanced, basically.
Yeah.
But I feel like both of the rulebooks are well laid out, easy to understand. The base rulebook is going through all the 9 phases of the round very simply, and it's an easy to understand game, so nothing to say basically other than good stuff.
The symbols in this game are very clear. It's easy to understand them and they're logical. Also,
especially after you heard them one time. Like there's many of them you cannot understand when you just see it.
Absolutely.
But they're easy to remember.
Yeah, it's no time we have been like, oh, what is this symbol again, and check the rule book. When you explain it once, it's clear.
Yeah.
And it's a very good reference. I think that the player aid on your personal board has like directions for all the phases that you're going through, and it's very simple.
Yeah, it has like no directions, but symbols for the faces.
Oh, yeah.
But they're mostly fine. There's one face which is kind of like, there's one phase which is like adrenaline. If you're lost in place, you can do some other stuff, but you could also do it after phase 5, and it's kind of, that's the only kind of weird thing in the rules, where I was like, okay, so it's phase 4, but if you want to, you could do it in phase 5 instead, and it's kind of weird, that thing. And the symbols for phase 5, I do not understand them. There's kind of like, I do understand some of them, but it seems like 2 of them are the same. I don't understand everything in that, like that's not clear, but the rest of it is pretty clear.
Yeah, we played this game with 2, 3, and 4 players. 4 players took about 80 minutes.
That was also a learning game, so you could easily get that down.
I agree. And then we played 3 players and 2 players in about 50 minutes. We have played the 2-player game with some dummy players.
Yeah, we played with all of the dummies. We're going to talk more about the dummies in the gameplay, but just so you know that took also maybe 10 minutes of that was moving the dummy player cars.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about the length of the game?
I think it's fine. I think that you can get it down. I think if it's under an hour, I'm satisfied. If it takes more than an hour, I think it's too long for this type of game. But 80 minutes was, as we said, a learning game.
I feel like you can get it down. I feel like for me to think this is more fun than I now think it is, spoiler alert, I would need it to be way faster.
Like 45 minutes?
No, like
faster?
30, yeah. Because we went back and look at Flamme Rouge, which I feel gives me kind of the same strategic depth.
Yeah.
And that was kind of 30 minutes depending on player account.
Yeah.
So, and we don't have that yet anymore, so, But yeah, I think that for me, it felt a bit long, because I felt like the decisions were basically, we're going to talk more about this, I know we don't agree 100% of this, but I felt like I was kind of looking at the cards, seeing, oh, I have these cards, I'm going to play this next round, maybe this, if I'm not drawing anything better, boom, done. And that should be like the length of your decision space in this game, and if it is, it's going to be a quick game. And I think like many of the phases, you don't have to you can basically be a bit quicker about letting the other players continue their game. But for me, the games we played was a bit long, and we also played with only the lower end of the player scale. I feel like if we were to play this with 5 or 6, I know people have played it in 45, 50 minutes with 5 or 6 people, but I don't think the people we play with would be able to do that. And I think that would make it a very long and not entertaining game. For me personally.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Should we talk a little about the gameplay?
Yes, I think
how we
so.
Feel about
Let's
the
do
game?
that.
I think that the hand management is the interesting. It's
the mechanism.
It's the game. Yeah,
it's the game.
I like the hand management.
Yeah.
You're drawing this. You have 7 cards on your hand each turn, and they can be like speed cards from 1 to 4 usually. They can be special cards with some special rules, and they can be stress cards. Stress cards are cards that you play, and when you play them, you have to play. Draw extra speed cards, so they kind of is a speed that you don't know yet. So it's a little chance. They can be high, they can be low, and you also eventually will draw these heat cards that you will need to cool down.
Yeah.
If you don't cool them down, they will take up space on your hand. So
same
they
with
really
the stress cards.
Yes, they really limit your options. But it's really nice to cool them down so you can use them again. So I think that is an interesting part of the game, the hand management.
Yeah, basically there's 2 different managements here. It's that, and as I said, like I slipped it in there.
Yes.
The stress cards as well, you can't discard, you have to play them.
Yeah.
So if you don't, if you end up, you only start with 3 of them, and you usually don't get more. But then you will have to, if you end up with 3 of those and 2 heat cards, you basically only have 2 other cards in your hand. It's going to be hard to do anything. You also have the heat management, which is kind of like a resource management bit, because you can use heat for many things. You can use heat, there's different of the special upgrade cards that you have to spend heat. You have to spend heat when you go too fast through a corner, and you have to spend heat if you want to boost, when you use a heat to be able to draw a card until you draw a speed card, and then you move that as a bonus movement, basically.
Yeah, and you also use it to change gears faster.
Oh yeah, if you change up and down 2 gears.
Yeah.
So there's many ways to use them, and you usually never have enough. So much of the game also is trying to think about when is it important to use it,
Yeah.
and then try to cool down your card when you get them into your hand so that you can use them again. I enjoy that part as well. These are kind of like these are the mechanisms of the game. So how to say, these are the things I like the most, because those are but that means that I do enjoy the mechanisms of the game. I basically talked a little bit about the straight tracks and the corners.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit more about that, because I feel like the strategy, or the lack of strategy in my mind, is that you are trying to get past these corners. Because if you're trying to get to the corner, past the corner, to the next corner and past it, but you're trying to get past the corner as many times as you can, because then you can continue to the next corner. If you let's say you end up at a corner that has like a speed limit of 3, and you end up not going past it, then the next turn you can only move 3 or a bit more if you use heat or some special cards, and then you will have to move to the next corner and so on. So all of the game for me feels like trying to get past the next corner.
Yeah, it's all about the efficiency of your driving, and it's interesting because you want to, for example, in a straight part of the lap, I don't know what it's called,
the track
race, you want to have a high gear, you want to play your high cards, and you want to be like just before the corner, because if you see the corner, you have to pay an insane amount of heat, or you drive out of the corner. But if you land like a little little before the corner, you have to move to the corner, but it's so you want to, as you said, go like perfectly around the corner, so that you can focus on the next and the next and the next. If you go to like end up using 2 rounds to move through a corner, it will the other players will outdrive you easily.
I felt like in the games that we played, of course you can have different experience in your groups, I never felt like somebody was in the lead. Like there was a couple of times like, oh, you're a bit ahead, but then I played a round that was a bit better, and then I was ahead, which meant for me that because of that, it really, for me, I know you disagree, but for me, it didn't feel like anything mattered before the end of the game. So after maybe you had like playing 2 laps for me felt kind of like, why? Because the first lap is going to be exactly the same as the second lap, so why not just play 1 lap and then you can play again if you want to, or play something better.
I like that it's 2 laps. We disagree on this point.
Yeah.
I agree that sometimes it is this. It doesn't really feel like if you're driving a little bad, you have lost the game, and I like that.
Oh yeah.
That if it looks like you're a little behind, you still have a chance to win it. I enjoy that.
You're in it to win it.
You're in it to win it, but that also means that sometimes it comes, or the times that we have played, it has really come down to the drawing of the cards in the last round. But it is sometimes also how you're setting yourself up for the last round.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're doing that
I don't mind that.
cleverly,
Yeah, because it's hand management all the way. So if you always depend on the luck of the draw, then you will win or lose depending on the luck of the draw. But there is, of course, luck of the draw in a game like this. There's also a mechanism where if you drive too fast around the corner and you did like kind of not have enough heat, you will drive out of the corner, you will go back to before the corner, get a new stress card in your deck, and reset your gear to 1. In the games we played, and depending on where you are in the game, I don't see any reason to push yourself to get past that corner if you can't, because there's no reason to push your luck. Like if you like, for example, I know, I use a stress card, which is the way to push your luck here, and I know I have used all my force, I know I can draw anything from 1 to 3, and that's fine, then do it. But I don't see basically any reason to push that if you're not at the end of the game. Because like in the middle of the first lap, why? Because as we said, the way we felt it, there is always time to, if you're not falling way behind, there's almost always time to get back in the game. So it didn't feel for me like there was a reason to push that. So it kind of, for me, ended up being, and it might be just because I play horribly, but it ended up for me just playing always, I'm on a straight line, gonna move super fast now, getting as close as I can to the corner, then I'm gonna get past the corner, then I'm gonna drive as far close to the next corner, get through that corner. So like the last time we played, I actually had like a time where I managed to get past 2 corners, but then I ended up having 2 bad cars and you actually won because I didn't have enough to get into the finish line in the first round when I squeezed past you. But even that might be the most fun I had the whole time I played the game. I was like, I did something that not everybody else did. And that is only also possible in one of the maps, in like that exact movement that I did there. So for me, what do you feel about that?
I think that deciding when to push and when to play,
but would you?
Yeah, but I think that for me, I am like a strategist. In this game, you can play this game and be a little more
reckless.
Yeah.
And one of the people who played with that and enjoyed that.
That can pay off because sometimes you see on your hand that I have 5 to be in the perfect position for this corner. I need to have 8. That means that I can play 5 and hope that I will boost with a 3. But it was a 4, and then I drove off I didn't have heat, for example. So when we played last time, I felt like I always had something that was good in my hands. But if I didn't, I think I would push a little.
Yeah, and I agree. Like it depends on how you play the game. Like if you play it like we're gonna see what happens and that might be fun for many people. It's just like this was my experiences, even though we disagree on that, it makes it even better review than just agreeing on everything. So let's talk about or did you want to go to that or to something else?
No, I just think that for me, what I enjoy with the hand management is that, as we lightly touched into already, it isn't these brain-burning decisions.
Nope.
It's easy to be like, calculate what is the best place to be. Sometimes you miscalculate or you be like, but now I'm weirdly positioned into the next corner. Or, no, I drew a bunch of cards that were high. I really need them low this time. But usually I feel like your turns go pretty quick. It's like a nice wait for this game to flow. It's like not this AP moments usually.
Which would have made it a horrible game because it's a racing game, and I want for me, I think like I like the racing game to be fast. And the game comes with a bit of different modules. I'm not going to go deeply into them, but they make the game a lot better. Like the basic game was kind of meh. And then you're adding, like, you can build your own car. In the beginning, you do like a couple of rounds of drafting.
Absolutely, that is
so you end up having some special ability cars. And then you have some weather, which kind of like changes parts of the board and changes the corners. That's fine enough. Changes up makes it a bit more replayable. The maps will feel a tiny bit different. And then you have a very smooth, very super simple dummy player system, which the game basically recommends you to use if you're under 4 people, and then always use at least 2. So we played it with 2 players and 4 of these, and it felt more interesting that way because only 2 cars on the board would have been really boring. But I felt like all of these things I'm happy they're in the box, like not an expansion. I feel like they makes the game a whole experience for me.
Absolutely.
And Days of Wonder are usually good at that, having like a basic game and then like, add these in to make it more replayable.
Absolutely, I agree.
So, wait.
Yeah.
And who is it for?
I think this is for a light game. It's very simple to understand the gist of and get into, and I like that it's 2 laps, 1 learning lap and then 1, this is how it works.
Yeah, the first time we played.
Yeah.
But also that you know the game.
But I think you have to be into racing games to...
This is not going to be like, if you hate racing games or don't like racing games, it's not going to be one that drags you into it. You also need to like it may be a tiny bit of strategy, like the different management parts of it's not like for the smallest kids, I would say.
No.
But it's a great family game in that, all that stuff.
But I think that it's pretty forgiving game. It's nice that you can still get into it, even if you have driven out of the turn or the corner. You can still feel like you have a chance to get back into the game.
Yeah.
So I think that is nice.
So you wanted some final thoughts?
Yeah, I like this more than you. I had fun.
Bye!
I had fun all the times that we played it. I enjoyed myself, but this is not a game that I will seek out to play. I think that I enjoyed Flamme Rouge more, and we don't have it in our collection.
True. Yeah.
So I don't think that this is a game that we will keep. But I can see myself...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I can see myself saying, yeah, of course, let's play it if somebody else suggests it. But I will not suggest this myself. For me, this is like a little above average game. I think this is a 6. It's like a game on a pile of games. But I think it's nothing wrong with the game. It's just like not the game that I will enjoy to play most of the time.
It's a 6 for me as well. I felt like you were gonna rate it higher because you liked it more than me. But yeah, it's not. It's a bit about average. I enjoy most of the aspects. It was a bit slow for my taste in this kind of game, and all of the decisions were so simple. But I enjoy the mechanisms of it, and I would, if people wanted to play it, I would play it. But it's not one that I am gonna go out and seek to play. So that is that, and that's the end of the video. If you are still here and you have not subscribed, you can do so now by
clicking the subscribe button down there. It's fun and it's free and makes us happy, like this. If you want to do something that's not free, you can.
Go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and support us there. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Cinema.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye-bye.